Things are, to put it mildly, a bit messed up right now. It's not just you, it's not just your city, it's the whole damn planet grappling with this thing we're calling the global living crisis. Basically, everything is getting more expensive, and wages aren't keeping up. Now, this isn't just about skipping your daily latte, it's about whether you can afford rent, food, or even the bus fare to get to work. This isn't some abstract economic theory, it's the reality for a huge chunk of the world. We're talking about families struggling to put food on the table, students drowning in debt, and seniors forced to choose between medicine and meals. Now, we're all in this together, folks, whether we like it or not, and it's time we started acting like it. Now, you might be thinking, John, times are tough for everyone. And you'd be right to a point. But here's the kicker. This crisis doesn't hit everyone equally. Take families, for instance. They're getting squeezed from all sides. Childcare costs are through the roof. Education is increasingly expensive. And don't even get me started on the price of diapers. It's enough to make you want to give up and have a breakdown in the cereal aisle, which ironically is also more expensive. Then there are students, those brave souls trying to better themselves through education, only to find themselves saddled with mountains of debt before they even enter the workforce. And with the rising cost of, well, everything, even getting a part-time job while studying isn't the financial lifeline it used to be. And let's not forget about seniors, many of whom are living on fixed incomes. They're seeing their retirement savings dwindle as inflation eats away at their purchasing power. It's a raw deal, especially for those who've worked their whole lives only to be left high and dry in their golden years. The point is, this crisis is hitting the most vulnerable the hardest. And that, my friends, is simply not cricket. So how did we get here? Well, it's not just one thing. It's a whole buffet of economic and political blunders, all seasoned with a generous sprinkle of global chaos. First up, wages. They've been stuck in a perpetual game of limbo, refusing to rise even as the cost of living does its best impression of a rocket launch. It's like trying to pay for a 5-star meal with pocket change. It just doesn't add up. Then there's the issue of, well, everything else getting more expensive. Housing, healthcare, groceries, you name it. It's probably gone up in price recently. This is partly due to good old-fashioned supply and demand, but it's also been exacerbated by things like corporate greed and government policies that prioritize profits over people. And let's not forget the impact of global events. Pandemics, wars, climate change, they all disrupt supply chains and send shock waves through the global economy, usually leaving everyday folks to foot the bill. It's enough to make you want to scream into the void, or at least write a strongly worded letter to your elected officials. And while you're at it, maybe send a fruit basket to the world economy, because it clearly needs a pick-me-up. Now, before you go full doomsday prepper and start stockpiling canned goods and toilet paper, let me leave you with a glimmer of hope. Because, frankly, we could all use a little bit of that right now. The truth is, there are solutions out there. We need governments to implement policies that prioritize affordable housing, accessible healthcare, and quality education. We need corporations to pay their fair share and prioritize their workers' well-being. And we need to find ways to address the root causes of global instability. It's a tall order, no doubt, but it's not impossible. It requires us to demand better from our leaders, hold corporations accountable, and most importantly, come together as a global community. Because as much as we like to pretend otherwise, we're all in this together. And the only way out of this mess is if we work together to find a way forward. So let's roll up our sleeves, channel our collective frustration into action, and start building a world where everyone can afford to, actually live. Because a world without crippling economic anxiety, now that's something worth fighting for.